Mayor. I wonder how many of us in this chamber have used a bus in the last couple of months. Those that have, I think, will appreciate. Those that have, I think, will appreciate the issues many people in our town face. The old adage that you wait for a bus for ages and three come along at once is written for Stagecoach operating in our town. And the wheels on most buses in Basingstoke do not go around the parts of our town that people want them to. Back in June, Mr Dyer, the Managing Director of Stagecoach, attended scrutiny and listened to resident after resident and councillor after councillor, all protesting about the changes to the commercial routes that had such an impact on their lives, on residents' lives. We heard stories of people who had lost their jobs because of the changes and not being able to get to work, of people walking halfway across the town in the early hours of the morning to get to work because the buses had gone. We saw mums struggling to get on double-decker buses, limited services to the hospital, older people trapped because their public transport that they relied on had gone, it had moved, the route had changed and therefore it had abandoned them and they couldn't walk halfway across the ward to get on the bus for the new route. Mr Dyer made a commitment. He said that once the county had announced its cuts in the autumn, he would roll out a further review with far more consultation and inclusion. He acknowledged the failure of the previous consultation and the previous inclusiveness of that consultation. And he agreed to look again at the commercial routes in Basingstoke. Now, for whatever reason, I imagine known only to himself, he now says that a review will not take place until the back end of next year. This is not what we thought he openly, publicly committed himself to, and Stagecoach to, in June. Now, the Cabinet member has made every effort to work with Stagecoach, and we respect her efforts. The problem is the county didn't listen, and its cuts have gone through. And to make matters worse, they are now considering significant cuts to dial-a-ride as well. It's not as if the buses were the end of that process. They've got dial-a-ride in their sights now. I mean, which bit of the county isn't going to get sliced up and counted? There really is just cut after cut after cut. Now, Stagecoach also now appear to have reneged on their promises in that public meeting, in that scrutiny meeting to us. And that raises a lot of concerns. We want this council to make the strongest possible representations to Stagecoach about their approach. It is no good coming along to a scrutiny committee, in good faith, hearing the complaints of residents and councillors, agreeing to do something, and then changing your mind later on, without any consultation with us, without any reference to those members or those members of the public that raised the issues in the first place. We wanted the review, we gave a commitment to the review, and doing it at the back end of next year isn't good enough. So really, it also raises a point, and it's not for this motion, it isn't for this motion, but I do think it's a debate that this chamber and councillors should have, and I feel strongly on. Stagecoach are the only show in town at the moment, and I think we should really actively look for other operators who just might be interested in offering our residents and our town a better service, and be far more cooperative with us. And when they give us a commitment, stick to it for once. It puts their commercial reputation on the line, really, and that's a shame. Why come and say what you say in June, only to move the goalposts when it suits you? I mean, that commitment is a shame that they've reneged on it. So I ask you really to support the motion, and let's help us to send a message, a clear message through our Cabinet of just how strongly we feel on this. We know it through our postbag. We know it through the issues our residents raise with us about the buses. And I would hope the Cabinet and I hope the administration would agree with the motion, and that the Cabinet member would take on board our comments and put them to Stagecoach in as strongly possible terms as we can, in order that we do get our point across to Mr Dyer.
Thank you.